that means, folks. In case you can't tell, that means it is our first ever Halloween episode of Kosher Slop.
Yeah. See, that was bad.
No, that was fine. That was fine. You did it. You did it well. My name is Zac O'Lantern.
And my name is Booni. Find us on Twitter by those names.
Yeah, we're that much of Halloween geeks that we actually changed our Twitter handles to celebrate the spooky season. So
And we do every year.
yes, yes. So what we decided to do in observance of this, we kind of went back and forth, like what's a movie or a show or something, and we couldn't really just decide on one. So what we're going to kind of do is a spooky crash course of 5 each of our favorite horror movies that we're going to kind of horror property or Halloween
Yeah.
properties, I guess would be, because they're not all exclusively horror. So each one of us is going to kind of talk about 5 things we really like that kind of get us into the mood each season, or something that we make a plan to watch every season. And then after that, we might do kind of a lightning round, lightning
Yes.
spooky, like Frankenstein storm, spooky lightning. We'll do a yeah.
Oh.
I was trying. I see. I'm trying to make connections here. So we at the
Putting in
end we're
that
going to kind of
work.
yeah. You be the judge. We'll let the audience decide. We'll do a lightning round at the end, basically, of everything else that we kind of wanted to bring up.
Yes. If you couldn't tell, because I'm pretty sure we brought it up in both of our latest episodes, we Halloween is both of our favorite holidays.
Yes.
We love the spooky season.
Hmm.
Um, but I want to give you some quick background before we start these lists. Zach is a longtime veteran of the spooky movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, he knows them all of them, every last one of
Oh
them.
God! Don't say that. Not every.
Comment below and Zach and make sure that Zach knows all of them.
Yeah.
If you
Drill
find a
me.
movie he doesn't know, we will fire him.
Okay. Wow. All right.
But I am a relative noob. I really only started getting into the scary movies. I loved Halloween, but I really only got into spooky movies really once at our college when we started doing Monster Movie Mayhem, which was a holiday scary movie marathon that a bunch of our
Hmm.
classmates did. I fell in love with it through that experience.
Yeah.
I'm still a huge baby about horror, but I do love watching them. So just know that because our recs are probably just keep it in mind as we recommend stuff.
There might be a little differences, but yeah. Well, once again, like I said it incorrectly at the beginning. It's not horror. This is a Halloween special.
Yes,
So
that is
not
yes.
yeah, not everything. And I mean, even one thing on my list isn't even a Halloween like property exclusively. So
Yeah, I
like
don't think I don't know how many of mine actually are technically Halloween movies.
yeah, yeah. So we'll see. We'll see. Definitely. I feel like we have a good spread of stuff between both of our lists that kind of cover a lot of different topics and different kind of areas of the season. So, would
Yes.
you like to start, Danny, with your list?
Sure, I'm gonna start with my favorite one first.
Okay.
Because I cannot recommend it enough. My top spooky movie is it's just gotta be Jennifer's Body.
Hmm.
I
Inter-
absolutely love that movie. If you, like me, were a kid when this movie came out, you probably saw the advertisements. It looked way inappropriate, and I mean it is, but like it looked the
Mhm.
wrong kind of inappropriate.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is the worst marketed movie in the world, but it is
Mm.
such a good movie.
Yeah, I'm glad you touched on that because yeah, it was clear they were with the marketing, especially gunning for, for lack of a better term, I guess the horny teenage boy audience. Is
Yes,
that
they
safe
went
to
for that
say?
hard.
Yeah, and that is not what this movie is.
No,
Which
it's actually a very like feminist
Yeah.
movie.
Arguably, there's several I can think of, but this, in terms of recent horror, I would say is probably up there as one of the most feminist focused horror movies for sure.
Yes, the whole movie focuses on a female friendship that is pretty toxic, but it actually explores it. It's not
Hmm.
like there's so many relationships in movies these days that go unaddressed or unexamined,
Yeah.
and it's not in Jennifer's Body. It's the whole point.
Yeah.
It's actually talking about how messed up girls can be about friendships
Yeah.
and their own sexuality.
Hmm.
And it's just an amazing piece. And this is so corny to say, but I do think it was just ahead of its time.
Yeah. Oh no,
I think
definitely.
I think that's what hurt it at the box office. But if you have a chance this October, I highly recommend it.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's like Emma Watson Bell in Beauty and the Beast. It was ahead of her time.
It was, yeah, it's absolutely I think something I want to bring up that I'm fans of the movie know, but I'm not sure if the regular person know. It was written by Diablo Cody,
Hmm.
who is most famous, I would say, for Juno,
Oh,
which if you've
absolutely.
ever, yeah, if you've ever seen that movie, you kind of know it has this unique, just the way the dialogue is like, I can't, I'm honestly trying to think of something to compare it to, but it really is just kind of like its own beast. Like she invents like slang like that isn't real, but
Yeah.
like
I
it
mean, I
sounds like.
guess the closest I would compare it's not like this, but it's
Mhm.
sort of like Whedon-esque in that it's just so distinct to the person writing it
Yeah,
that you
exactly.
feel their presence in every line,
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. And
but it's not like Whedon in any other way.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's definitely, it has a distinct style, which I know some people who aren't fans of the movie, they kind of cite that as like, why? Because it just kind of, it's something you either love or hate, and I feel like that's a lot of people's view on Juno too. But it works for me absolutely. Like, just it makes the world feel kind of lived in. Like even if it's not real slang that teenage girls in our world use, it sounds like something stupid. Like it's like if an alien came and heard like "do it for the vine" or whatever. It's like, what the
Well,
hell
and
are
I
you
think
talking
it
about?
works better in Jennifer's Body because we're not dealing with a realistic situation.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I do
Hmm.
think in the like realism of teen pregnancy, it put you off more in
Yeah.
Juno.
Hmm.
And I do like the movie Juno. I'm not here to
Yeah.
slander Juno or
Yeah.
anything, but it just works better because it's just more removed from our reality. That
Yeah.
style is helped in that way.
Yeah.
But
I'd agree.
it's definitely a 10 out of 10. Also, we all need to collectively apologize to Megan Fox.
Yeah, I wanted to bring that up too. Another reason why this movie failed was this was like the heyday of Megan Fox, like Transformers. She was everywhere. And of course, when you're everywhere, everyone hates you, as we've seen multiple times with different celebrities over time. And
Well, and like I think about this all the time.
mhm,
But like in Transformers, she's the only character that knows about cars. But
yeah,
because of how Michael Bay framed her,
uh-huh.
people left that movie thinking that she was just the hot girl.
She's a slut.
Yeah, and then people let Michael Bay's filmmaking choices
Hmm.
affect how they react to the actress.
Yeah,
They act
exactly.
like because he lingered on her ass that she was this like vixen, this temptress.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And we all did. I'm not even going to exclude myself
Oh
from
yeah,
this. I
no,
mean,
absolutely.
I was like 12 and I was like Megan Fox.
Yeah. Ugh.
But um and she came out as bisexual, and then before that was really
Yeah, I do
publicly really
remember that.
acknowledged.
Yeah.
And but she is finally getting her due.
Yeah.
She's very talented. Jennifer's Body has has gotten a huge cult following for
Yeah.
very well deserved reasons, and she's amazing in it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's, yeah, very. A lot of people talk about this movie through the feminist scope and everything, and that lens. But yeah, the performances in this, both her and I would say Amanda
Oh yeah,
Seyfried
I don't think
are.
there's a bad performance in this movie.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't say so either. Honestly,
Yeah, okay, give me your number one, dude,
number one
or
for
a
me.
one of them.
Yeah, yeah. These aren't in any particular order, but the one that I want to bring up first, for me, is one ever since it's come out, I make a habit to watch every time, usually right on October 1st. And mine is actually, it's not a movie, it's a mini series, a limited series. It is Over the Garden Wall. Over the Garden Wall released, it was 2014, which is what I thought it was. It released on 2014, and it's hard to talk about why it's a Halloween thing without getting into spoilers. So, what I will say is that unlike a lot of stuff on Cartoon Network these days, this was like a running plot. Like it's not just an episodic series; it's a limited series about two brothers who find themselves in these woods, which they later find out is like a whole world called the Unknown. And they have their step brothers. Actually, they have kind of a contentious relationship with each other, but they just kind of go on this adventure in the world they live in. If somebody asked you like what does fall look like what does Halloween time look like, that is the way this world looks, just from not only the architecture and the way the characters are drawn, but the color palette, the music is, it's very old-timey colonial American. um, it's a very comforting show, but it also, it has a little bit of spooky stuff in it. It's kind of got, they're on the run from a monster known as the Beast, which is kept really mysterious the entire time. I want to talk more about it, but I think they, when they originally marketed it, it was a limited mystery series, so there is a
Hmm.
mystery to it. um, and I don't want to spoil that, because if anybody's listening and they've never seen it, I cannot recommend it enough. Even if you don't watch it during fall time, I would say make it a point at some point just to watch this, because I think this is one of the best animations to have come out in the past couple of decades. Honestly, not just in terms of enjoyment, but I think on a sheer artistic level. The everything, like I said, from the music to the style of the show to the voice acting. Elijah Wood plays one of the brothers, and he's fantastic.
He's the
Some
guy.
Yeah, also known as the guy from Spy Kids 3 3D. Um,
I will literally never address him as anything else. Not Frodo, not anything. Just the guy.
Yes, the guy. But I, yeah, cannot recommend it enough. So if you've never seen it, and the good thing, if you've never even heard of it, if this is the first you're hearing it, that's even better. I went into it blind, and I feel like that's part of the reason why, other than being a brother, I have an older brother, similar, it's an older and a younger brother, but definitely something I revisit every year. So I would say check it out. Last I heard it was on Hulu, and I think it might even be on HBO Max now. So definitely give it a shot.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I would weigh in, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah, yeah, and hey, I say definitely for sure check it out. Even you,
Even me? What is that supposed to mean?
even you.
Zachary Lantern.
Booney.
But yes, okay, cool. On to I was gonna say round two. Are we?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we're not. It's not. Yeah, I guess round two, second set.
Okay, so my second movie. Okay, so last year during the height of the pandemic on Halloween, we were both a little blue that no
Hmm.
normal Halloween stuff was happening.
Yeah,
Understandably, though, we're not
yeah,
like
yeah,
like open the bars. No. So, but Disney Plus had just added the group watch feature.
Hmm.
So we're like, let's go on Disney Plus and watch some like just some fun Halloween content together on Halloween.
Yeah.
Honestly, one of my favorite Halloweens. I had so much fun.
Yeah. It was a very good
And I'm building to it because let's see, we saw Haunted Mansion, which we've talked about.
time.
We watched Ichabod and Mr. Toad, and then we watched the second item on my list, Phantom of the
Yeah,
Megaplex.
which was a blind. The previous two I had seen, and I think this one was a blind pick for both of
Yeah,
us.
I think we were just like, oh yeah, sure.
Yeah,
I feel like we were talking about Phantom of the Opera adaptations, and you're
yeah,
like, hey, this exists. And we're like,
yeah,
oh yeah, sure.
yeah. I had heard it because I was not a kid. I did not have Disney Channel growing up, so a lot of the
Hmm.
Disney Channel original movies were missed on me. Like I
Yeah,
just
and
know them from name. Yeah.
this was before my time. By
Hmm.
the time I was on Disney Channel, everything was Halloween Town for good reason. No Halloween Town slander.
Oh no.
But I don't know. I absolutely adored this movie. And I want to tell you this because getting prepped for this,
Uh-huh.
I didn't want to watch I didn't really have the time to watch all the movies I want that are on
Same.
my list again.
Yeah.
So I went online to find like reviews of these movies,
Oh no.
just to get like the taste of it again.
Yeah.
And the only review for Phantom of the Megaplex that I could find was Channel Awesome.
Oh no.
Yes. And I'm like, whatever. And I clicked it. And the whole time it was like, this is a little baby movie. It's like, yeah, it's fine to like this if you're a little child. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what's the problem?
Oh my god.
I
Oh.
am a big believer in I don't really care who you're aiming for.
Mhm.
I think if you have fun, you have fun. Like I
Mhm.
haven't seen it, but if you have fun at the new Paw Patrol movie, I don't then
Yeah.
it's just fun, you know?
Yeah.
Why
Oh yeah.
it doesn't have to matter if it's aimed for like preschoolers.
Yeah.
If
Oh
you
yeah.
have a good time, it's a good movie.
Yes. 100% agree.
But Phantom of the Megaplex was incredible.
Yeah.
It had that like 90s chaos energy that everything in
Uh-huh.
that era had.
Yeah.
It had Mickey Rourke, no, not Mickey Rourke. Holy cow.
Mickey Rooney.
Mickey Rooney. Those are very different people.
I get them mixed up all the time too, so you're totally fine. I It's the names, man.
All these kids go up to him and he's like, "Where's my bird?"
Oh no. The Phantom of the Megaplex is the board.
But Mickey Rooney is in it. He is incredible.
He plays Movie Mason.
Yes, and he gives 200% to this role.
Yeah.
Never
Insane.
slacked.
Yeah. I mean, he's old. He was doing like Night at the Museum, which was like a couple of years later, and he was like 90 or whatever. So he was like 80 or
Yeah.
something probably in this, but he still is absolutely giving it his all.
Yes, he was so dedicated. It was so sweet. It was a movie that I will say, not to sound like Channel Awesome here, you as an adult you probably can guess because they're trying to find out who the Phantom of the Megaplex is. You will guess,
Hmm.
but it is still a fun ride and
Yeah.
even though we both pegged it from the beginning, there were moments where like maybe this person's the Phantom of the Megaplex.
Yeah. We were just wild mass guessing the entire time. Like at some points, just saying the most irrational choices just for
Yeah.
shits and giggles. It's definitely a good time.
Yes. So I do recommend it. It's just a lighthearted, well, not fully lighthearted. It's the 90s kids movies. There's always
Yeah.
something weirdly dark about it.
Yeah.
But I definitely fully recommend it with all my heart. Um, just remember, it is for little babies.
Yeah, little baby. If you like it, you're a fucking baby. God, jeez Louise. Alrighty. Yeah, definitely one I would recommend. It's good in a group setting to watch like we did. Um,
Yes.
As for my round two pick, I'm gonna gush the hell out of this movie because not only is this one of my favorite movies to watch around Halloween time, but this is one of my favorite movies of all time. Um, Also, I mean, I some days people all the time ask that question, "What's your favorite movie?" And for people like us, that's not an easy question to answer,
No,
but
they're all my favorite. I
exactly.
love
But
all my children.
yes, usually if somebody demands an answer, if they won't accept, I can't do that. This is usually the movie I will drop, so it's very near and dear to my heart. It is the Lost Boys.
Mm-hmm.
Which, similar to how Phantom of the Megaplex is a good distillation of that late 90s kind of vibe, this movie is the 1980s. If I had to show somebody who'd never heard of the 1980s what the 1980s were like, I would show them this movie. It is directed by Joel Schumacher.
Boo. Sorry.
No, hey, we're not slandering his name. The man has since passed since we did that podcast.
Wait,
So
he did?
yes,
Are
he
you
is.
lying to
No,
me?
he is deceased. So I will double not tolerate Joel Schulmacher slander in this house
Oh my
anymore.
god, did I do that?
Yeah, probably you broke his little heart. But so The Lost Boys is a movie. It's a vampire movie before Twilight kind of completely took vampires off the market for ever being able to be considered scary again.
Hey,
Um,
you leave Twilight out of this. Get
uh,
Twilight out your mouth.
I like baseball. What can I say? So the Lost Boys, without getting too much into it, is a movie about two brothers who move cross country with their mom after their parents get a divorce to live with their grandpa for a bit while she gets back on her feet. They moved to Santa Carla, which is a fake stand in for San Francisco, basically, because they couldn't use the name because how gory the movie gets at some points. And the nickname for the city they use is the murder capital of the world. Um, so they move there, and everything seems kind of weird, kind of strange. And over the course of the movie, the older brother named Michael, he meets a gang of teenager, like they're hooligans. Like there's a huge
Hooligans.
hooligans. There's a big pier where like all the kids hang out. It's like a boardwalk. Like there's video games and music and comic book stores and stuff, and he meets a girl he has a crush on, but she's part of this gang, and the kids are really like weird and like combative towards him. But then eventually they let him come to like they have a secret lair. Like when the huge Californian earthquake hit, whenever that was, it took a hotel underground, and they live in this lair, and they offer him some wine, and the girl is like saying to him like don't drink it, it's blood. And this all happened right after they like tricked him into thinking that rice from Chinese food was maggots and stuff like that. And so of course he's like, oh, blood, yeah, sure. And he takes a sip. Little does he know that, yeah, it is blood, and the reason they're so like ruffian and do whatever they want is because they're vampires and they know that they're better than humans. So he slowly starts to transcend, and there's like a period where you wonder like, oh man, is he gonna like be with them? And it's about fighting for his humanity. But anyway, the plot of the movie is what it is. It's a vampire movie, but
No,
what
is
makes
there any baseball?
no baseball,
Then
so
I'm
not a
not gonna watch it.
yeah, not a true. So Bram Stoker would be disappointed. He's probably rolling in his grave because baseball is what he intended with all vampire media. But what makes this movie work, similar to a lot of other movies in the 80s, like The Breakfast Club and uh, Pretty in Pink and stuff like that, those movies have their problems. I'm not going to deny, but they also have a really good understanding just of what like the teenage kind of zeitgeist is, like that
Yeah.
feeling of
I
not
feel like
belonging.
I feel like we really haven't had that in eight. I feel like the closest thing we've come from what I've heard is Bo Burnham's Eighth Grade.
Uh-huh, which I have not seen, but I have heard the same thing
Yeah,
that nails that, yeah.
I feel like we've just lost that Hollywood being able to tap into that.
Mhm.
Anyway,
Exactly. Yeah, no, definitely. I think as
back in the days before I was born.
Exactly. I mean, I can't. I am a weird case because I was not born until '92, but my dad never let go of the '80s. So for the longest time, I was raised on like nothing but '80s music. So for the longest time, like that was just the music that I listened to too. Like up until I was like a teenager, was like '80s music. So um, regardless, I absolutely Lost Boys is one. It is technically a horror movie, but like on a scale of 1 to 10, I would put it at like a 3 or a 4. Like there's not a lot of spooky imagery, and the gore in it is like
Hmm.
almost comical. This movie though, it just nails, like I said, it just nails exactly what it's like to be a teenager, and the vampirism aspect of it is kind of like used like a metaphor for like going away from like childhood and wondering what adulthood really is. And there's another layer to it because Joel Schumacher was a very open gay man like all
Yeah.
his life, and there's a
Hmm.
lot of homosexual undertones in it. And funnily, like vampires and history have always had that too, that kind of weird element. So it's just the way they handle it. It works on so many levels, and just the vibe of the movie, the music, and everything is great too. I highly recommend it if you are into that. Like if you love like The Breakfast Club and you love Halloween shit, I would say this movie will knock it out of the park, because those were like two of my favorite things growing up, and this movie to this day is something that I love.
Nice. Okay, I have another important vampire related question about the movie. So
Yeah.
there's no baseball, which is just criminal.
Yeah.
But were any of the vampires a Confederate soldier?
I
That's not even just Twilight. It's very popular.
Yeah. Confederate vampires. Unfortunately, I have to say, since this took place in California, there's no Confederate vampires in sight. Unfortunately,
You're not holding up any of the tent poles anymore.
I know. What can I say? Like I said, Joel Schumacher thinks outside of the box with his
Maybe a little
vampire
too
music.
outside the box. No.
Mm.
No, but yeah, it sounds really cool.
Yeah, definitely fun.
Okay, so like ding ding, time for round three. And this is where the ring girl holds up the big sign.
Hey, the Ring Girl, like the Ring spooky movie. She comes out of the well and does it.
Oh, I did that on purpose. Okay, so my round three pick, I'm gonna go with this one next because it's the exact opposite of what I said about Phantom of the Megaplex, in that um while we correctly guessed the whodunit aspect, it kept us on our toes. I'm moving to a movie that we saw a trailer for together in theaters,
Hmm.
and during the trailer, we leaned over and said, "We know who the killer is." And then
Yeah.
upon watching it later, we were entirely correct. But that doesn't mean it's not a great movie.
Yes. Oh no.
This is technically cheating because I am going to include both, although primarily the first one.
Yeah, go
It
for it.
is Happy Death Day.
Hmm.
Um, I'm discovering more and more that I love time loop stories.
Yeah.
I I think it's just maybe just like a cheat code because I think it's just so easy to get creative in that,
Yeah.
and I think they do it really well. The main character's name is Tree.
I to this day I can't get over that. I
Every time I remember, I laugh.
Yeah, such a funny choice. Oh God.
But Tree is a girl who wakes up on her birthday.
Hmm.
Hey, Shorty, it's your birthday. Except they didn't get the rights to that
No.
song. Um, she has a pretty bad birthday. And then she gets killed at the end of her birthday, wakes up, it's the morning again. That's how time loops work. Good job, Danny,
Yeah.
explaining that. Pat on the back. um, I do think it's a creative use of the time loop, having to solve your own murder. Because,
Yeah.
man, this murderer is really good at accounting for her change of plans every time.
Yeah. That's the fun thing, because like at first she like the first like two times I think she is just like, oh, that was a weird dream, but then it kind of
Yeah.
plays out in a similar way, like a little different, but not too much. But then when she realizes what's going on, she's obviously, trying to fight her way out of it, and like mixes stuff up, does weird stuff that she normally wouldn't do, but every time it ends the same way. So
Yeah, no
kudos.
matter how different she plays her day, this this baby masked killer
Yeah.
just finds her.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, she's and I think there's a great I don't want to like go into spoiler territory, but there is a great like ticking clock element they add to it
Hmm.
cuz
Yeah.
like it's the opposite of Groundhog Day in that sense because Groundhog Day's sense of dread comes from knowing that it is infinite, that
Yeah.
no matter that it seems like no matter what he does, he's just going to be in this forever. And Happy
Hmm.
Death Day manages to be like, no, it is finite.
Yeah, this is a limited time loop, like,
Yes,
yeah.
so if you don't
Hmm.
figure out who is killing you, there will be a time where you are killed permanently.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I
I
think
like
that's
it.
really neat. And
Yeah.
I think it's knows how to have fun with itself.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's one of those movies, that horror comedy that kind of strafes that line, but
Yes.
most of the times when movies do that, I kind of roll my eyes. There's a lot of really good examples, and I think there's a few more on both of our lists that kind of do that
Hmm.
well, but this movie, it could have very much been, too much wink wink nod nod to the audience, but it plays it straight a lot, which I really appreciated.
Yeah, it does both very well. You'd
Mhm.
think that either the comedy would be really strong and the serious moments wouldn't play, or the serious moments would work and then the comedy makes it awkward. But it
Yeah.
doesn't.
Uh-huh.
They're both handled very well.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So yeah, that's my pick.
Round two, we'll see.
Watch the trailer and comment below who you think the killer is.
Yeah, if you're going into it blind, please do, because honestly, I mean, maybe it's just because we're movie people and we like know shit how stuff is
And we
made, but
watched
like,
so many trailers.
yeah, we watch a lot of trailers, but like the way that trailer is framed, in our opinion, it's so damn obvious from that
Like the
first
movie, if you
trailer.
just watch the movie, I don't think you would. I think you
Uh-huh.
might. It might pop into your head, but you will it will float to the back of your mind as the movie goes.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like when you see that trailer first, and
Hmm.
if you guess correctly, then the whole time you're watching, you're kind of like, okay,
Yeah.
show me that it's them.
Yes. Yes. Alrighty. Well, it's funny you did that as a pick, because that really segues into probably the horror comedy that I have on my list is my round three pick, and it's possibly, I would say, the most obscure pick on my
Uh
list.
oh, I haven't even seen the ones so far, and
Okay.
they weren't off the beaten track.
Yeah. So my round three pick is a movie by Peter Jackson called The Frighteners. Um,
Oh,
it is 1996, I believe.
that's me.
That's you. Oh wow, this is a birthday movie for you. Happy birthday. Um, and this movie is another one. I wish I could have picked some that I could explain better without getting into spoilers. But once again, I want you to experience this if you've never seen it. So I'll kind of give you the gist of it. This is a movie. It's actually one of the last movies that Michael J. Fox did before kind of semi-retiring, I guess, due to his Parkinson's, unfortunately. But he's great in this. He kills it. He brings a lot of similar energy as he does with Marty McFly in Back to the Future. Um, the premise of this movie basically is he plays Frank Bannister, who is a con artist, but his con art is really unique compared to a regular con artist because he has the ability to see and interact with ghosts. So he has in his
Ooh.
employ two ghosts. One is a disco guy named Cyrus, and another one is a stereotypical nerd. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Oh my god. What's his
Wow.
shoot? Stewart. Stewart. That's it. Stewart. Cyrus and Stewart. And so basically, what he does is he picks a house and he sends Cyrus and Stewart into it. And since regular people can't see ghosts, they just see like stuff flying around and cabinets banging. open and close. And what they he always does is he has one of them bring like a business card and like set it kind of outside of the house or somewhere weird, like put it in a newspaper or something like that, so it looks like it was always there. And so then they call and he comes in and he's like, oh man, this is an awful case, like I can exorcise these ghosts, and he like charges crazy prices for it. And yeah, he scams people out of money with ghosts, and it's really cool. But then suddenly, out of nowhere, people in the town he lives in just start dying, just collapsing from what looks like heart failure, because when they get autopsied, their hearts literally look like something like squeezed it. And everyone's like, what the heck is going on? And one night when he's out doing his cons, he sees what looks like the Grim Reaper. It's like a big black cloak, literally shove its hand into somebody's chest and like rip out their soul and kill them. And so he's the only person that can see it. And since he works like with ghosts, even the town people know, whether they believe he's a con artist or not, they're like, oh, he's spooky. Everyone
Mm-hmm.
starts suspecting he has something to do with it. And so the FBI gets called in, and like they start chasing after him. But it's more than meets the eye. There's another mystery about it. And I think just when you think like when it gets to that point, you're like, oh, so this is what this movie is. He's going to clear his name. But then there's more layers to it that are like insane. And like it's not a super long movie, I don't think. I want to see the runtime. Yeah, no, it's not like a 2 hour movie or anything like that, but it just kind of switches gears in the middle to something completely different. And I want to talk about it at the same time. Once again, I think it's something that works a lot better if you kind of go into it blind. But it's a really, like, the performances in it are solid. The effects for 96 are phenomenal. Um, a fun little bit of trivia is that it was one of the first movies that used a lot of computer generated special effects. And Peter Jackson, at the time, this movie was not a success, by the way. It was a kind of a box office bomb, which sucks. But at the time, he had a lot of leftover computers from the movie, and he still had them under contract. And people were like, well, you got to do something with these computers. And he was like, well, I've always liked Lord of the Rings. And that's how we got Lord of the Rings. So the Frighteners is,
Ooh.
yeah, kind of responsible for that. But anyway, absolutely check out the Frighteners. The performances are great. Like I said, Michael J. Fox, Trini Alvarado, who I think is a really underrated actress, plays the female lead in that. Jeffrey Combs, who is a staple of horror, like in stuff like Reanimator, and From Beyond, like a lot of Lovecraftian horror movies, plays the FBI agent. And he is chewing the scenery in every scene that
Yes.
he's in, but in the best possible way. So definitely cannot recommend Frighteners enough.
So what you're saying is Frighteners inspired Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
Wow. I
without,
thought it was
yeah.
based on a book.
No, not at all. Actually, they were like, ghosts. Those are a fictional thing. What about hobbits? Those are fictional too. We just made that up.
Yeah,
And
what's a
what?
hobbit?
Yeah, what do hobbits
He's just
like
a
and what
little
do
guy
they
with
do?
big feet. They eat all the time.
That's somebody's fetish out there. Little guy, big feet.
Love it.
Lord.
So round four, we're almost there, folks.
Woo.
Um, hmm. Since we just did comedy, I'll go the other direction for my second to last pick.
Mhm.
Um, it's gonna be it's recency bias, so I apologize, but it's Doctor Sleep.
Yep.
Absolutely loved it. Controversial opinion. I like it more than The Shining,
Oh, wow. Okay.
but I
Damn.
have no sentimental attachment to The Shining. Everyone,
Well,
please
here's the
remember
fun
that.
thing. Yeah, I do have sentimental attachment to The Shining, and I agree with you. So we're both
Yes,
gonna be on the
okay. Because I
same
was like,
page.
I literally I watched The Shining. It's on my movie poster list, but I also finally got around to watching it when I saw trailers for Doctor Sleep.
Uh-huh.
Doctor Sleep made me want to watch it, so I think that also colors my opinion. But I
Yeah.
do really love it. It's such. I'm trying to think of even the words to describe what I'm trying to say. It's a very tense movie
Yeah.
in a way I don't think another movie has managed to be for me.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Even it's a movie where even when things are calm, it feels like something is going to go horribly wrong.
Yeah, exactly. The stakes are always there.
Yes, and I like Stephen King stories, but I really love it when Stephen King goes, "Yeah, there's magic. Fuck you."
Yes. That's the a really oh, you broke me for a minute. That's a really good way of putting it.
Yeah, so many horror movies try to be like, especially nowadays, are trying to be like, well, let me explain the science behind. It's like, no,
Yeah.
there's magic. There's
Yeah.
paranormal crap. There's magic.
A big spider clown fell from space on a meteor. Fuck you.
A big turtle god has to beat him. Fuck
His
you.
arch enemy is a turtle.
And I really liked that because there's a whole group of people who are just like, yeah, we're magic.
Yes, exactly.
We
Yeah.
love magic.
Hmm.
And I think I probably like this movie more because The Shining really leans away from it.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Like it's there. The Shining is a very excellent film, and I'm not trying to disparage it.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. No, just because we're saying we prefer some, and so many
Yes.
people think that means poo poo on it, but no, that is not what this is at all. Yeah,
Yeah. So The Shining, the movie focus is very very focused on the character study
yeah,
of Jack,
hmm,
and it's more focused on just like human nature
yeah,
and
hmm,
our own capacity for evil within us, and it works. It's
yeah,
great.
absolutely.
But in making it about that, it does shy away from the fact that this is a world where
Hmm.
these creatures of darkness and light, mostly darkness,
Yeah,
just exist and they feed on us,
hmm.
and it's unsettling.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I just the Doctor Sleep just leans all the way into it the whole time. It even goes back to The Shining to explicitly make it more magic.
Yeah, yeah.
And the actress they got to play Shelley Duvall.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. The flashback stuff they did when they showed young Danny Torrance again and his mom, just in the hotel, and like what their little bit they do at the beginning, showing them what happens to them after The Shining, the actress that they cast and the little kid that they cast. It's like uncanny how well
Yes.
they did that, and supposedly the set when they show the overlook and flashbacks and stuff like that, they rebuilt that like from Kubrick's movie, like they like frame by frame built that set again because like the blueprints to the original I think are like lost or whatever, and just the care that goes into this not only as an adaptation to The Shining, like a sequel to The Shining, which the book is, this is based off the King book too,
Yeah.
but they made it because some people don't know this, but the Kubrick Shining is so vastly, wildly different from
Yes.
King's book that King has gone on record saying that he hates it, he can't stand it. But since that is ingrained so much in the public conscience, they made the Doctor Sleep movie a sequel to The Shining, the movie, Kubrick's The Shining,
Yeah.
but it still has elements from the book Doctor Sleep. It's a really
Definitely.
crazy thing, and the fact that it works as well as it does is awesome.
Yeah. And like we've discussed this in our personal time. There is like currently such an issue in adapting and continuing franchises and
Hmm.
ideas.
Yeah,
And I feel like the scale is like, okay, this isn't adapting, but it's Rick and Morty, where it's like, once upon a time you claimed you liked these things, but now
taking the
you're just
piss
kind
out of
of
them.
shitting on people for giving
Yeah,
a crap
yeah,
about the thing that you're claiming you like.
yeah.
And then there's maybe Ready Player One, where you just treat everything with such reverence that it's just like,
Yeah.
come on, man,
Yeah. Dude,
get
she's the
over
best.
it.
Yeah. Come on.
And I think Doctor Sleep, um, not a balance because you don't need that. Haha, you're dumb for liking this.
Yeah.
That's on the bad side of
Yeah.
the scale, but it
Yeah.
manages to be wonderfully respectful
Exactly.
of The Shining, while also you can just feel the love for
Yeah.
the work,
Yeah.
and
The
it makes all the
director.
difference.
Yeah, the director is Mike Flanagan, who I think before this he did Gerald's Game, and I think another, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know he did Gerald's Game for Netflix, which is another King adaptation.
Hmm.
And there's several references. This isn't like a spoiler thing, but at one point, Danny Torrance is using his Shining to commune with a deceased character, and the character just randomly says, "All things serve the beam," which like that is like Stephen King's Dark Tower, which is like his like linchpin universe thing that binds all of his books together in the same connected universe. Like that's basically saying like what God wills, that like all things
What
serve the
turtle god
beam.
wills.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. The turtle God wills. Basically, that is what that means. So there's just it's clear you nailed it with just there's such reverence for Doctor Sleep and every corner of it, but it's not like you said the Ready Player One thing where it's just
It's
like,
like,
oh,
I am
remember The
so
Shining?
cool for
Yeah.
liking this.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Exactly.
you've ever heard of it or if you even understood it if you did see it, but I like The Shining.
Yeah. You know what's cool? Video games. You ever heard of video games, guys?
But yes, it's definitely it kind of surprised me because I really loved the It movies, both of them.
Yeah.
But it as soon as I saw Doctor Sleep, I was like, this is my favorite Stephen King movie.
Yeah. Wow. I would say the same, honestly. Awesome.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
hear your round four.
Hey, round four. So you left comedy, but guess what? I'm kind of staying in there,
How
baby.
very dare you?
Yeah.
I wish
I
you would
don't.
just respect me.
I don't play by your rules because my round four pick is Casper the Friendly Ghost. you
Could
you
not
you
get more different.
you teed me up like Zach knows all the horror guys. Zach knows everything. I'm like Casper. Hey,
Casper. I don't know if you've heard of it. Casper.
yeah, I don't know if you ever heard of it,
My
but
little friendly ghost.
yeah, say hello to my friendly ghost. But yeah, Casper. This is another movie that, funnily enough, a trend I found in movies that I bring up on this podcast is they're never critical darlings or box office successes.
You're such a
Um,
hipster.
I know it's because the VHSs that I grew up with were all the shitty movies because that's all my parents could afford. But anyway, Casper, if you don't know, is about a friendly ghost named Casper. Yeah, that's my round four pick. Thanks. Um, but
Anyway,
seriously,
round five. No.
this movie is Casper was kind of an obscure property at the time this movie came out in the 90s. I think it was
It
95.
was?
Um, yeah, 1995
I
was
guess I was
when,
born after Casper,
yeah.
so I guess I can't really speak to the pre-Casper world.
There's the BC times and the AC times before Casper and after Casper. But anyway, yeah. So this movie in the old
No,
comic
actually,
book,
no. BC and AD still work because before Casper, after death.
oh shit, okay, you made
Okay,
it
you're
better.
welcome, world.
In the traditional Casper media before this movie, Casper didn't really have any deep lore. It was just there's a ghost who, instead of scaring people, he likes to be friends with people, but they're still scared of him because he's a ghost. Um, this movie kind of tried to give, I can't believe I'm saying this, some gravitas to Casper. um, it basically talks about the main plot of this is that there's a daughter and a dad team that kind of go, they move around the country a lot because he is a therapist for ghosts. Um,
Excuse me, what? I'm
yes,
sorry,
yes.
I don't mean to offend you, but my only Casper experience is Casper and Wendy.
Oh, hey, good on you for knowing what that is because I adore Casper Meets Wendy as well. But
That
yes,
was on Disney Channel all the time. Hilary Duff.
damn, I had it on VHS. I watched it a lot. If I knew it had been on Disney Channel, I would have asked mom and dad for it a lot more.
A lot more.
A lot more. But yeah, so it's played by the dad is played by Bill Pullman and the daughter is Christina Ricci. They're both phenomenal in this
I
movie.
mean,
They
they're
give
not Hilary
perform
Duff, but
they give
oh,
performances that are way too good for this movie, honestly. And the reason he is a therapist for Ghost is he helps them cross over. Like the rules of this movie is that every ghost has unfinished business, and if you help a ghost solve its unfinished business or even figure out what it is, they can cross over and go to heaven or hell or whatever.
I
Um,
helped you cross over so you could go to your eternal torment.
yes, yes. They only talk about heaven, but I mean that implies there is a hell. So, but anyway, they move cross country to look around and help this rich, mean lady. She inherited a mansion from her dead dad that's haunted by Casper and his three uncles,
Oh, those uncles who
Stinky,
all share a
Stretch,
bed.
and Fatso. Yes, yeah.
Can you repeat their
Um,
names since I had to interrupt with that very pertinent information?
no, you're fine. You're fine. It's very important information. They are Stinky, Stretch, and Fatso.
Did they
Um,
have real names or were they human names? Stinky, Stretch, and Fatso.
fun fact, that's what is etched on their beds in their bedroom, so that implies that that's what they went by before they died, I would assume. So
Wow.
um but anyway, yeah, so Casper, it's just a really fun kid. And the thing for me that has had this movie stick with me for years, besides the fact that I cry like a bitch every time I watch it, it's one of those kids movies that deals with like really dark themes. Like I guess I'll kind of
Like
spoil it
Phantom
since
of the Megaplex?
yeah, like Phantom of the Megaplex. It's one of those '90s kids movies that deals with stuff like death and the afterlife in a really mature, straightforward way. Like it doesn't sugarcoat anything. But there's a scene where Casper remembers how he died, and like because when the implication in this universe, another set of rules is that when a ghost dies, it's like being born again. So you just come into the world with nothing, and you just kind of have to figure everything out. And so at one point, he and Kat, the daughter, go up into the attic and they find a sled. And he remembers he like lived in like the 1910s, like early 1900s, and his dad got him a sled and he played with it all day and he gets hypothermia, and since it's
Oh,
the early 1900s there's no cure for that and he just dies. And he's like, the reason I stayed around is because I didn't want my dad to be alone. And that is like,
oh my
oh, that kills me
god.
every time. In the music, oh god, it kills me. But anyway, the
Jesus.
yes, yeah. And oh god, I kind of just want to tell the whole plot, but I'm not going to do that because I want people to enjoy it for themselves. But yeah, the besides from that, the fact that it tackles such, and that's not the only really dark thing. There's stuff about bullying, like other kids bully Cat at school, and it's like not like after school special shit. Like it's just real people being assholes and
Hmm.
stuff like that. But the production design in the movie too. Fun fact: the mansion where the movie takes place is the same mansion in the Backstreet's Back All Right video. Um, so keep that in mind when you watch it. It may help or hinder your enjoyment, but regardless, that's a fun little tidbit. But yeah, this is a movie like if you have kids or whatever, or even if you just lived kind of in that, if you're a '90s, 2000s kid or whatever, and you've never seen this, I think you owe it to yourself too, because in my opinion, it's one of the
Wow, you owe it
it,
to yourself. You heard it
yeah,
here, folks.
yeah. If you don't fuck with Casper, I don't fuck with you.
Oh
Let me put
shit.
it let me put it that way, to be blunt.
You don't fuck with Casper, you will hear from Christina Ricci, Wendy, and Zach.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
Love it. Okay, final round.
Ooh,
Ooh, ooh.
ooh.
My last pick is one that surprised me. So I have a very complicated relationship and history with Joss Whedon.
Many women do, for better or worse.
Oof, yes. So, Coming of age, I really loved him. I even watched Dollhouse, and I do
Oh,
like the show Dollhouse for all its faults. But then I kind of got he can be a little exhausting.
yes.
His Whedon-esque dialogue can be too much at times. And so I just kind of even before we found out he was an absolute prick. I was kind of like, he's fine. I don't really have strong feelings either way at this point.
Mhm.
Um, and that's around the point when I watched Cabin in the Woods for the first time.
Haha.
So I had very little expectation going into it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Um, it was in that weird phase of Chris Hemsworth career.
Yeah.
I think back of that time in his career and I just like shudder.
Yeah.
That's
It was like
scarier than any movie we could recommend.
the the funny thing about that is like this was filmed before Thor, I think, but it came out
Yeah.
after Thor. So
They're like,
it was
hell yeah.
yeah, he was in
We
that
got
weird place filming.
Thor. But oh, but he to be clear, he's very good in this movie.
Yeah. Oh
But
yeah.
if you were to just watch a trailer, it looks like, oh boy, here's another Chris Hemsworth uh, dreamy douche.
Yeah.
But Cabin in the Woods is about five friends. Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
because there's the two pairs, and then the guy from Dollhouse who's stoned all the time.
Yeah. Bootleg
That's actually what
Shaggy.
they call him in the movie. It's weird.
Yeah. Yeah. You're the
No,
guy from Dollhouse.
he pulls up and they're like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" He's like, "I was in Dollhouse
Looks right into the camera and the screen shakes violently.
Fridays on Fox." But so these five friends are. It's a typical horror movie setup. Five friends going on a little trip to a friend's cabin
In the
in the
woods.
woods.
In the woods, even.
But it quickly becomes very weird, very off, not
Yeah.
normal horror movie ways.
Yeah.
And it really is what I would call a great deconstruction of the genre.
Oh, yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like a
I would
lot of
argue it's one of the
movies,
best. Yeah, I would argue it's one of the best deconstructions of all time of any genre of
yeah,
movie. Yeah.
yeah, honestly, it is a very well crafted deconstruction of horror while still embracing, like,
Yep.
but it just there's just ever since it came out, there are so many movies trying to do that exact same thing, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
and it's like we said with with Pirates of the Caribbean, it was kind of lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, for sure. Like it's fun. It's so weird because like the marketing for this movie, I don't remember it super well, but I remember they marketed it like straight.
Yeah, they
There
did
was
not give any indication that this and like the opening scene. I read about the opening scene. I don't want to again, we're trying to avoid spoilers even though it's the
uh
first scene, but still. Um I read that they wanted the first scene to be jarring in that the first scene starts and you're like, "Am I in the right movie?"
yeah.
Where they kind of wanted you to get up and like go out and check.
Yeah. Look at the little marquee on the outside
Yeah.
of the
And it just immediately is like, "This isn't what you thought it was." And you're like, "Okay,
No,
what
yeah.
is it?" And then it keeps answering. You're like, "Oh, oh
Yeah.
my."
Yeah, and it doesn't like dump it all out right away either. It like kind of like you said, like it's just kind of it's unsettling, but not in the traditional horror sense. It's like something's going on. What's going
Yeah.
on?
Well, the
What?
first scene immediately tells you this isn't normal.
Yeah.
So when they launch into the stuff that seems normal at first glance, you're already like, okay. And then
Uh-huh.
like little by little they show you little they it keeps getting more and more bizarre,
Yeah.
and you're just like, what's happening?
Exactly. Yeah.
But
It's very well done. Super well
yes,
crafted. Yeah.
super great, love it. So those are my five. Let's hear the ass end of your five.
Okay. Wow. So for my fifth one, I really wanted to do one of the traditional kind of slasher movies, because you can't really talk about like Halloween horror movies without bringing one of those up, and it was really hard for me to narrow down which one I wanted to talk about. But what I ended up deciding on was Nightmare on Elm Street. The other ones will get honorable mentions here at the end during our lightning round, but I wanted to bring up Nightmare on Elm Street. One, it's super iconic. Like, even if you're not, like, if you don't like watching horror movies, you know who Freddy Krueger is. Like, you
Hmm.
know that
I
energy.
haven't watched Nightmare on Elm Street, and I know who Freddy Krueger is.
Yeah, exactly.
He's got his Edward Scissorhands in the bathtub.
Yeah. You got them sharp fingers, sharp hand Joe, they call him. Um, that's a reference for like two people out there, probably. But anyway, Nightmare on Elm Street, um, what it brought to the table, because slasher movies, I mean, obviously, one of the ones I thought about bringing up is Scream, which is kind of a deconstruction of that genre, but for the most part, traditional slasher movies, it's a whole bunch of teenagers go to a place. And people start dying. Someone comes in with a knife or a hammer or whatever, a chainsaw, and they just start killing everybody. And that's what slasher movies were until Nightmare on Elm Street. Nightmare on Elm Street, which makes Freddy Krueger scary, is a couple of different things. The first thing is he kills you in your dreams. So similar to
Ooh.
something like Psycho. Oh, and I should mention he kills you in your dreams and you die in real life. So um,
That'd be pretty
similar to
freaking
how
lame if you didn't.
yeah, he just makes you have a really bad night.
And you
No
wake up
sleep.
and you're perfectly fine.
um, but yeah, so similar to how like Psycho, people say it like revolutionized because of the shower stabbing scene. Because you're like at your most vulnerable. You're naked. You
Yeah.
got nothing in there with you, but maybe some soap or whatever. You can't really fight back. Nightmare on Elm Street is like the logical extension of that. You're not even awake. And you're in a world where logic doesn't work, because the second thing that makes Freddy Krueger so scary is that while you're in your dreams, he has complete control over them. So
Yeah,
similar to
his version of Dead by Daylight is absolutely awful.
yeah, yeah. If you've ever played that video game, it's a nightmare because anything like just like having a real nightmare, because dreams are so weird, because in nightmares they don't really follow any logic. Like you stand up to get out of bed and you step on the floor, but hey, the floor is suddenly snakes. Like that's what a dream is, and
I
that's like the
hate
kind of
snake floors.
that's the kind of shit Freddy Krueger does. Like, without spoiling anything, like there's a scene in the movie where a girl is thinks she's awake and she's talking on the phone, and all of a sudden the bottom of the phone turns into his mouth and his big slimy tongue comes out and tries to kiss her. It's like shit, and then she like wakes up like what the fuck? Like it's like weird. He toys with people. He doesn't outright kill them. He chases them around and makes them wonder in their dream, oh, am I really awake? Am I really asleep? And he eventually finally goes in for the kill. Um, so for me, Nightmare on Elm Street just blows my mind because the creativity in it, like the stuff like that with the phone, and I don't want to spoil anything else, but there's several other the way people die in that movie. It's just not people getting stabbed or clubbed or choked or shot or whatever.
Hmm.
Just the way people die, like especially for 1984, is nuts. The effects are all practical. It's just truly a marvel to watch, and the performances are all good. But the person who steals the show, it's obviously Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger. And another thing that really separates him from the pack of killers, he doesn't just, walk slow towards you and breathe heavy. He like jokes. Like in the first movie, it's not really as prevalent. He still has moments, but I'll spoil this because it's one of my favorite horror movie moments of all time. In Nightmare on Elm Street 3, there's a girl who wants to be a movie star, and in her dreams she thinks she's just watching TV, but all of a sudden Freddy's head pops out of the top of the TV and his arms shoot out of the side and pick her up, and she goes, "This is your big break. Welcome to prime time, bitch," and shoves her head in the TV and electrocutes her to death. He
Oof.
makes shitty puns as he kills you, and that is just it's beautiful. He's a jokester. He's a funny guy.
Yes.
He
We
kills
need
you.
more slashers who just. We need more Ryan Reynolds slashers.
Yeah, yeah. Basically, yeah. Just people who are not afraid to crack a joke or look stupid while they kill you.
Yeah. They're
But yeah,
they're 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 killers. They don't need to make sense. They don't need to be
exactly,
dead serious all the time. They
exactly. I have some levity while you're murdering me,
Yeah,
please.
please
If you're not
send
having a
me
good
out
time,
laughing.
yeah, exactly. It's why Pennywise works so well, both in the original It and the remake. Like, not only does he kill you, but he calls you a fat kid too. It's
Oh
a
my god, I will never get over how just the whole every time he interacts with Ben in every movie,
yeah,
it's just to
yeah.
call him fat.
Ooh, fatty little fat boy. It's like,
Like
dude,
everyone
come
else,
on.
he like preys on their deep like
Yeah,
in like in chapter two, the newest one, he's like, Ricky, you're in the closet, and you're like, oh shit, and then he's
yeah,
like, Ben, you're fat.
yeah.
You'll always
Uh,
be fat, even though you're not.
yeah. I know what you really are. But yeah, give us
Anyway,
more
anyway, anyway.
petty. Yeah, give us more petty, fun serial killers is all I'm gonna say
Yes.
in movies. Yeah, so that is that is the ass end of my list.
We did it. Okay, let's real quick lightning round some.
Yep. How
Okay,
do you want to just go? I don't know if you have a list made or anything. If you want to go through yours, or do you want to alternate
let's
or?
alternate.
Um,
You say one, I say one.
okay, let me get my list pulled up here
Oh
real
my god,
quick.
amateur hour over here.
Sorry, I had one thing in my pictures and one thing on my messages. Um, okay, so touch on that, touch on that. So my first honorable mention are the Scooby Doo movies, specifically Scooby Doo on Zombie Island, Scooby
Yes.
Doo and the Witch's Ghost,
Hell
Scooby Doo and the Ghoul School, and also the
yeah.
first James Gunn live action Scooby Doo movie.
Ah, only the first? That's rude. Okay. House of Villains. We referenced it a little while
Yeah.
ago, but it's just so much fun.
Yes, yes, the House of Villains. Another one, this one takes place during Halloween and has a lot of really cool goth vibes. The Crow. Rest in peace, Brandon Lee, whose career was tragically cut short because he died on set of the movie.
Yes. I don't know how to follow that. No one's dead from my movies. Well, some okay, anyway. Halloween Town, all of them. Watch every
Yes.
last one of them except the last one where they've recast Marnie for no reason.
Ooh, the scariest thing getting recast.
No, stop. That's a joke from Vampire Song.
Oh no, shit! I didn't know. All right.
Anyway.
Next honorable mention: is it a Christmas movie? Is it a Halloween
Oh
movie?
no.
I don't know, but either way, that clay is really fucking scary. Nightmare Before Christmas.
What's this?
Yeah.
My next movie, it's cheating. It's two of them. It's both of Jordan Peele's thrillers, Get Out and Us.
Hmm. They are good.
Good, good,
Um,
good.
good, good, good. Another one. This is kind of another obscure pick. A movie that did not do well when it came out, but
Shocking.
has a yeah, has a big cult following now, specifically for the production design and makeup effects. It is 13 Ghosts. Matthew Lillard is phenomenal in it, as he is in literally everything he ever does.
He's a gem. We must protect him.
Yes, at all costs.
My next lightning round pick, the 2019, 2020, The Invisible Man. Super
I,
spooky. Might get a little too real for you ladies. It certainly got too real for me, but it's very
yeah,
good.
definitely another really good kind of feminist viewed horror movie. We love Leigh Whannell. He's a good boy. Um, next one for me is a very underrated Stephen King adaptation off of one of his really lesser known uh, short stories. It's 1408 with John Cusack. You will never feel comfortable sleeping in a hotel room again after seeing the movie.
No, thank you. My next pick is Psycho. Can't go wrong with the classic.
A
Uh,
uh,
it's
my
great. We'll never have another one like it.
yeah, except for that weird shot for shot remake they did with Vince Vaughn as Norman Bates.
Better than the original. Fight me. No.
Oh God. I
Oh.
will lump my next ones. These are the honorable mentions that could have been my number five pick. All of the John Carpenter Halloween movies, um, the Scream series, specifically one and two, and then the Saw movies. The first three are phenomenal. The rest of the series is good to watch, ironically.
Ghostbusters.
I like
Classic.
it.
Classic.
I like it. I like it. This next one, if you've never seen it, can you really call yourself a fan of Halloween? I'm talking about Hocus Pocus, sister.
I didn't see that until college. True story. I literally watched that for the first time with you on
Yeah.
Monster Movie Man. My last rec is it can't come to a surprise. We've brought it up a few times. The It movies, including the
Nice.
TV movie
Yep. Yep.
or
That
the
is
mini
good.
series. It's
Yeah.
two movie length.
It's basically a TV movie. It was two parts.
It was beautiful.
Split.
It was
Yeah.
beautiful. They're both great. Watch
Yeah.
them. Very different takes on the exact same story. They're fabulous.
Yes, absolutely. So I've got a few more that I'll just
Yeah,
lightning
crank
off
them
real
out.
quick. Yep, we got Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. It's fairly recent. If you grew up with those books like I did, it is amazing. And that's another one I would recommend if you have a young kid or someone who doesn't like horror movies. It's a really good jumping off point, in my opinion. Um, Another one that takes place during the Halloween time but isn't necessarily horror is Sleepy Hollow with Johnny Depp. Another really good Tim Burton movie. Blair Witch Project, controversial pick. Some people love it, some people hate it, but whether you are the former or the latter, you cannot deny that it is a very influential movie, especially in terms of found footage. And then the last one that I'll bring up is The Mist, which is my
Hmm.
second favorite Stephen King adaptation. And I'm not going to say anything else about it because that is a movie you need to go in completely blind to, because the ending will destroy you in the
Yeah, that's why
best
I
way.
can't watch it. I already know what happens.
Yep, it is good.
Yeah, so let's apologize.
Yes. I will go ahead and I will do a themed Halloween apology. I will apologize to all the payday bars that I used to reject as a child because they, as a candy that does not have chocolate, payday is now like my favorite candy of all time. So
Ugh.
all those paydays that I used to throw away or give to my parents to eat, I regret not eating you, so I could have been an even fatter kid than
Oh
I
my
already
god.
was.
Well, I'm sorry that my best friend likes payday. Ugh. No.
What can I say? I'm poor. The name makes me think of money, so I can pretend I
I
live in the life
feel
of
rich.
luxury. Yeah.
Um, okay. I'm going to apologize because I'm going to drag. I'm mostly apologizing now to my parents. You've unlocked a Halloween memory of mine.
Oh no.
I'm sure they actually don't give a shit, but it's very vibrant in my mind now. So, an early Halloween, I had to be like 5 or 6. I went trick or treating, and it was the first time they were letting me try gum.
Okay.
And so I pop it in my mouth, I chew a little bit, and then I immediately swallow it.
Oh my
And
god.
like my mom was like, "No!" And like she actually kind of scared me because she was like it was such a strong reaction. But, but I'm like, man, what a dumbass.
The one rule about gum. You broke it.
Yeah, there's all the horror stories about what it does to kids' stomachs, and
Yeah.
I don't even chew it for like a minute before I just send it down.
Yeah.
So
Oh
I'm
man.
sorry, Ma, that that I was born without a brain in my head.
And hey, you were born in '96, so at that time the internet wasn't big. So for all we know, your mom thought it was gonna kill you, like the myth. So your mom was probably genuinely terrified for
Oh
your
yeah,
life.
no, I mean, she told me after I swallowed. I'm like, Danny, you can't. She was like, Danny, you can't do that. That's not good for you.
It was nice knowing you, honey. Oh man.
Well, everyone, stay safe.
Yes. Enjoy a spooky movie or two, or treat yourself to a delicious candy bar that may or may not be a payday.
Preferably not a payday.
Okay. Fair. All right. God, Joel Schumacher in Paydays. I can't catch a break.
Yep, that's correct. I know that we all want to have a good Halloween this year, but remember to just keep in mind what's going on.
Yeah, play it safe for sure. Like definitely. Uh,
Yes, do what we
World's
did.
still kind
We
of on fire.
Yeah. Um hopefully we can do our own little our I hope our little group watch thing can become a vague tradition for
Yeah.
us.
Oh yeah,
Of at
for
least
sure.
one movie. We don't have to watch like 3 movies every time.
Hey, I'm game. As long as I have time, I will watch every movie that we talked about today if we
Yes.
had the time for it.
So happy Halloween everybody.
And stay tuned for Thanksgiving.
Oh my god, we have nothing planned for Thanksgiving.
All those calories. The spookiest thing of all.